The Humminbird PiranhaMAX DI and Garmin Striker 4 are eerily similar in looks and price, so it can be challenging to know which one you should mount on your boat. I've thoroughly tested both and weighed the pros and cons of each one to help you decide which one is going to be the better purchase. The Garmin Striker 4 was the very first fish finder that I bought for my kayak over a decade ago. And I've been testing the PiranhaMAX DI for the last several months to mount on my dad's fishing kayak. So let's get started with the pros and cons of the PiranhaMAX DI. The very first thing that stands out about this fish finder is it's a little bit bigger than the Garmin Striker 4. Not much, but if your eyes are bad like mine, then you might need a little bit bigger screen to really see everything clearly. Now granted, it's still not giant by any means, but it is bigger, and sometimes bigger is better. The other thing that I really love about this fish finder is the down imaging. Down imaging is great for helping you find fishing spots that you would have overlooked with traditional chirp, and it just gives you a better idea of what's below your boat. Another pro to PiranhaMAX DI is it's actually less expensive than the Garmin Striker 4. So if you're on a super tight budget, this is probably the unit that you want to go with. I also found that this unit was very easy to install. I appreciate that there's very few wires to plug in, and the most difficult part was actually connecting the transducer to the bracket that I got, and that was just because the hole in the bracket wasn't big enough for the bolt of the transducer. A little bit of drilling and I was good to go. Lastly, it's also very compact. Even though it's a little bit bigger than the Garmin Striker 4, it's still super compact. So if you're running a kayak, a john boat, or even a small boat, and you just need something that's easy to look at but stays out of the way, unlike the big giant computer screens on the front of so many professionals' boats, then this unit is a great option for that. Now, just because it's a great option doesn't mean it's perfect. As a matter of fact, I found some things that I really do not like about this unit. The first thing that I really don't like is the menus. I found them very confusing and outdated. Now, I'm sure that as I mess around with it more, it will become more second nature to me, but I've just always thought that Garmin and Lowrance have a much better menu system, because this feels like a Windows 98 or something that I would have used as a kid on a computer. The other downside to this is that there's no mapping or GPS or waypoint dropping. So if you're looking to save your favorite fishing spots on the fish finder, this is probably not the unit for you. So now let's move on to the Garmin Striker 4. Now, in contrast to the Humminbird PiranhaMAX DI, the Striker 4 does have GPS waypoint capabilities. Now, we'll discuss a little bit more in the cons, but it's also a pro because you can drop that waypoint and mark where you're at, mark where you just caught that fish, mark that brush pile, rock pile, whatever it may be. And I also think that these menus are way easier to navigate. Now, this might just be a bias because it's the first unit that I bought and I used a lot, so maybe it's just because I'm more used to it, but I found the Garmin units way more intuitive and easier to get through without jumping through multiple hoops. This unit's also super easy to install. Honestly, there was no different between installing the Garmin Striker 4 or the PiranhaMAX DI. I installed this unit over a decade ago with no prior experience with installing fish finders, and it was very simple. As long as you understand how to use a screwdriver and can match red to red and black to black, you're good to go. As you can tell, it's also very compact, so it stays out of the way again. It's even more compact than the PiranhaMAX, but that might also be a con because it is a little bit smaller. So that's up for you to decide if you want a little bit more compact one or a little bit larger one. Now onto the cons of the Striker 4. As I'd already mentioned, this is slightly more expensive. Now, we're talking in the $20 to $50 range, depending on which one's on sale or how the retailer really feels about pricing these units. So it's really not a drastic difference, but with similar features, they are in a similar price range. I would say very comparable price range. And the other con that I said I was gonna mention is the quote unquote maps or the waypoint dropping. The waypoints are dropped on a blank screen, so you have no maps. And so if you're looking to use this as navigation, don't, because it will get you lost. You just drop the waypoint on a blank white screen, and so as you get closer to it, the waypoint will pop up on the screen, but there are no contour lines and there's no navigation help with it. So if you're looking for something with lake maps, neither of these units are the answer. But who should buy it? Which one is actually better? And in my opinion, I'm still gonna go with the Garmin Striker 4. Although I absolutely love down imaging, and I think it's a huge help to finding fish, to finding unique spots to fish, it's the menus that just get me every time. If I'm frustrated running through the menus, then I'm gonna be frustrated fishing, and then it's just gonna turn into a bad day and I'm just gonna let it spiral. Whereas if I'm happy with my unit and I'm not frustrated frustrated trying to run through certain menus, jump through hoops, then I'm gonna be in a better mood and I'm gonna think more clearly, and more than likely, I'm gonna catch a few fish and have a great day. Now again, I might just be biased to the Garmin Striker 4 because it was the first fish finder that I purchased. So I'm more familiar with the menus, I'm more familiar with the unit itself because I've had it for well over a decade, and it might just be those things that make me like it a little bit better. But like I said, we're about to mount the PiranhaMAX on my dad's kayak, and he really enjoys it. It does everything that he needs it to do, and he's happy with it. So no matter which one you decide to purchase, there's a link down in the description below, and when you use that link to purchase one of these units, it helps us by giving us a small commission at no extra cost to you, so that we can keep bringing you informative videos like this one on fish finders, on gear reviews, and a lot of fishing tips. So if you found this video helpful, I'd appreciate if you liked it, hit that subscribe button, and commented which unit you chose to go with. And if you decided that neither of these fish finders are right for you, then you can check out the playlist down below me where I've reviewed over a dozen other fish finders, so you're certain to find the one that is perfect for you.